Imagine waking up and hearing that the Nigerian authorities have just destroyed illicit drugs worth more than 301 billion. Not 301 million, not 3 billion. 301 billion naira. And this happened right here in Lagos. The question many Nigerians should be asking is, where were all these drugs coming from? Where were they going? And how much more is still out there? Let's talk about it. The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, on Monday carried out a massive public destruction of illicit drugs at the Navy town in Ojo, Lagos. According to the agency, a total of 329,865 kilograms of assorted illicit drugs were destroyed. The estimated street value, approximately 301 billion. The exercise was court-ordered and involved drugs from concluded uncontested cases as well as abandoned seizures. And when you hear the types of drugs involved, the story becomes, even more serious. The NDLEA said substances included, cocaine, heroin, methamphetamine, and different strains of cannabis, including Canadian loud and skunk. There were also ephedrine, tramadol, codeine syrup, other opioids, and cut leaves. Now, let's break down where this, massive haul came from. The NDLEA said its Lagos Strategic Command alone seized over 246,000 kilograms between April 2025 and May 2026. Another 83,000 kilograms came from operations involving the Murtala International Airport, the Tinkan and Apapa, the Marine Command, and a special operations unit operating in Lagos. So we're not talking about one small, burst. We're talking about seizures accumulated across different operations and locations. And that brings us to the question. I think many Nigerians will be asking right now, how much more is still moving through the country as we speak right now? Because 301 billion naira worth of drugs is an enormous amount. And remember, this figure represents the NDLEA's estimated street value, the drugs destroyed. It doesn't mean the Nigerian government had 301 billion naira in cash sitting somewhere. These were illegal substances that the agency says had been removed from circulation and were subsequently destroyed following court orders. But here is where, this story becomes bigger than just, a drug burning exercise. Drug trafficking is not simply about people selling substances on the streets. It creates a chain. There are people importing them, people transporting them, people, storing them, people distributing them, and eventually people buying and using them. The NDLEA chairman, Brigadier General Muhammadu Buba Marwa, said the agency's fight is aimed at dismantling drug cartels and the financial networks supporting them. He also linked illicit drug trafficking and abuse to wider problems including addiction, broken families, drug-related crime, and impaired driving. And that is why this story should concern Nigerians, because behind the huge numbers are actually human beings. A kilogram of cocaine doesn't have feeling, but the person who becomes addicted to it does. The family that watches someone deteriorate because of addiction does. The young person whose life is destroyed does. And the community dealing with drug-related crimes does. But here is the question I want to leave you with. Is destroying seized drugs enough? Obviously, removing, hundreds of thousands of kilograms of illegal substances from circulation is significant. But if criminal networks continue finding ways to bring drugs into Nigeria, then the country will continue fighting the same battle. But perhaps the bigger question, is not only how much did the NDLEA destroy. It is also how much more are traffickers trying to bring into Nigeria, and perhaps even more importantly, who are the people financing these operations? Because if you want to seriously attack the drug trade, you don't only go after the person carrying the package. You have to go after the network and the money behind it. For now, NDLEA says these drugs will, never make it into the Nigerian communities. More than 329,000 kilograms have been destroyed, with an estimated street value of 301 billion. But this story raises some very serious questions about the scale of Nigeria's drug problem. What do you think? Is Nigeria doing enough to stop drug trafficking? Are we only dealing with the drugs after they have already entered the country? Tell me what you think in the comments. And if you want me to keep breaking down major Nigerian and international stories in simple terms, subscribe to the channel.